Joining us via Skype now from Port Elizabeth is political commentator, writer and analyst Ongama Mtinka. Ongama, good afternoon to you and welcome. Why is this getting so ugly, do you think?
Thank you, Jeremy. It's very interesting. I think what we are saying with respect to the motion of no confidence against Ethel Trollip is that the situation has now gotten to where gloves are really off. And I think I'm looking at how the DA is managing the political messaging around what is really happening. They've managed, I think in my view, to kind of reframe what this political maneuvering by the EFF to be about race. And I think they had all that material in Julius Malema's ambiguous messaging. In one instance, they were saying the reason why they are going against the DA in Nelson Mandela Bay, it's because they have failed to vote with the ANC in Parliament. But secondarily to that, they said among the candidates that they could have gone against, they chose Nelson Mandela Bay because they are hitting a powerful DA politician and a white guy. So among all the mayors, they are going against Ethel Trollip because he is white, and if they hit against him as a white person, then they know it's going to rattle some feathers in the DA. Now, I think that has got a potential. In fact, it had already a backlash because in South African politics, race is very emotive, and the DA is actually reframing the narrative as well as a patriotic alliance, and I think they're going to get public sympathy, especially given the fact that this is not about service delivery in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Well, is it about service delivery? Possibly, because an ongoing refrain from both the ANC and the EFF in the metro is that the townships in the city have been deprioritized at the expense of suburbs. Do the two opposition parties in the metro possibly have a point?
Well, I think what has happened is that the attitude of the municipality towards credit collection in particular has increased, and the credit collection became firmer. And the reason for that is that, one, the municipality was under pressure, and the DA had promised that they were going to get municipal finances to be back on the right footing, and that's one of the things they claim. Secondarily, it may be that perhaps they felt that the townships or the certain low-income communities were allowed to actually be wasteful, and maybe the municipality was too lenient. So maybe that's what the position is, and which explains why there's been a firmer stance for credit collection and switching off of services when payments are not being made. So I think that's the one issue that's been a thorn in the flesh among some communities within the Bay. But also, I mean, some of the other challenges are challenges that were there before the ANC when the ANC was still in power, in the same way that some of the victories were there even during the ANC's time. So I don't think, for me, this is purely a political game as far as I'm concerned. And the justifications around service delivery were secondary to what was a political objective of getting rid of him.
With the assistance then of the Patriotic Alliance, it would seem then that Ethel Trollip has the numbers, or the number that he needs to win this vote of no confidence. Having said that, though, anything could still go wrong. Somebody could be sick, people might not arrive. It's almost too close to call at this point. What happens then to the political dynamic within the metro if Trollip loses this vote tomorrow?
In fact, Jeremy, regardless of tomorrow's outcome, there's one certain future concerning Nelson Mandela Bay, that it's going to be an unstable council for as long as the balance of power in council is not reconfigured. It might not be votes of no confidence in future, but it might be passing on of, for example, the draft budget, which must be passed on in May to allow for public participation. And also the bylaws that need to be passed, department programs. It's going to be an unstable council. So whether or not Trollip succeeds tomorrow, which I think is likely going to be, save for the unknown happening between now and then, this council is going to be unstable. And the question, in fact, is going to go back to the EFF as to what then do they do strategically in terms of their support. Do they, as an aggrieved party or as a party that has failed to marshal a motion of no confidence, remain on the sidelines and not vote, or when crucial decisions are taken? I think what we'll see is that these calls for a motion of no confidence will continue, especially when the ANC in the Bay has actually gotten its act together also, because they were a little fractured at the moment.
Ongama Mtika, thank you very much for joining us, political commentator and analyst in Port Elizabeth.